Looking for a way to invest in Black women's mental health? Join the Abundance Collective, the Loveland Foundation's community of passionate monthly donors helping us show up month after month, session after session, with the love and resources our communities deserve. Intergenerational healing takes time, and with our monthly donors, we have a steady stream of support to help our seeds of healing grow. Monthly donations cover the cost of therapy for Black women and non-binary individuals, and fund programming to empower BIPOC therapists. Start a monthly donation to join the Abundance Collective. Visit thelovefoundation.org/abundance. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Folding, presented by the Loveland Foundation. I'm your host, Rachel Keener, and today we are joined by the Unraveled Season 2 host, LaToya Maria. Welcome, guys. If you can't tell, I'm very excited to be chatting with them. They're some of my favorite people. And they're here to talk about the amazing season of Unraveled Season 2, which nears October 10th. So please go ahead and watch us on YouTube. But yes, welcome, Aseanté, Loveland, LaToya. How are you two doing today? Aseanté, I'll start with you. How are you?
You know, I was saying earlier, like, oh, I hear what your clavicle out. I got a whole sweat put on. And I was like, that's kind of the energy of Unraveled this season. It's like, come with what you got.
And do the best you can.
And with what I got. Period. Oh. Giving shout out to Mo Fraga. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Happy. LaToya, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I am happy to be here. So excited for the new season. I'm a little hot. I thought I'd give a little sleeve, but I'm in a nice warm climate. But I am grateful to be here and back in community with y'all.
Well, for those of you who don't know, we shot Unraveled Season 1 over Zoom 2 years ago.
Yes.
And that was quite the journey. It was beautiful. But we knew that we were going to come back bigger and better than ever, with quality, with production, with direction, with a whole film set, a crew. So yeah, I wasn't there personally, but I would love to hear how this season 2 of Unraveled felt for you guys, and like what were your emotions that stood out, like the themes of the season.
Ooh. Okay. I will say what changed from the first season of Unraveled to this one is we actually did a little bit more unraveling ourselves because life has been lifing. And so I think the first one was like, hey, we're going to share with you some things that we've learned on our journey. And this season was more like, we are in this, we are discussing topics we are in real time, because what is this time zone? What is this timeline that we're in? And so I personally felt a little bit more unraveled, a little bit more raw, a little bit more honest, a little bit more open, a little bit more unnerved this season, which I think was really great, because it really helps to kind of dispel and demystify this whole healing myth of like what a healer should look like. And if you're some type of healer or practitioner, you should be at this certain elevated space all the time versus being able to also be in humanity. So I think that comes across often. Yes, Jesus.
Yeah. This season was great. And I think I definitely agree. I felt a rawness to it. And I mean, I like to embody that. And I think that there's a lot of integration this season that we explored, because we did show up more as ourselves and we were in the space together. And like, not to spare y'all a story time from season 1, shenanigans and fun, we did attempt it in person. There was travel involved. It was really lovely. And then we landed on, you know what? We can reimagine that. And I think that trueness showed up this season with first of all, the support that we had really definitely showed up. But I like that there was a rawness to it for me. And I think that we could show up for one another in a way that was a lot more contained in that rawness. And I think that's true and human. And I definitely am someone who holds the space for healers to be human. I'm not interested in performing that. I want to live it.
No, when coming up with like the themes for this season, I know we were really like listening to our audience and what they need and what they wanted help on. And a lot of it was like how to have and maintain and create like healthy emotional relationships, and like being in that space. And like there are a lot of times it's like, oh, externally, like with other people, or how do I deal with a conflict in this way? But the root of it was like the relationship with yourself. And there's this line, because like as I was like going through the videos, I was like taking notes on like things to like pay attention to, or like things we could like edit and like make like assets out of. And it's like there's a phrase I believe that you said, Aseanté, was self-love is practice, not perfection. And I was like, oh, that's a bar. Let me write that down. Because like there's this like how like there's this like lots of self-love being projected, like self-love will like cure it all, and like just how do you do this, how do you do that? But it truly like is a practice. It truly is like a journey of how you get there. And so how have you guys been practicing self-love lately and like embodying that energy up there?
I think for me, I've been choosing a lot more consistency in my practice versus trying to always be so intense. My default is pretty intense, but I'm trying to practice some consistency so that I can sustain myself. And for me, the concept of self-love specifically, and I think that what we displayed for this season is a lot about having a devotional practice and like giving my work, giving your work time, right? And being gentle when we are exploring self-love, gentle with ourselves, and obviously kind of trying to expand that in a compassionate way so that it flows out through our relationships. Yeah.
I love that. Friends. Oh, friend. I would say the way I'm practicing it today is actually that like what does Aseanté need today? And so oftentimes the answer that comes back is grace. Girl, I need grace today. And so self-love in this particular season is a form of dating myself. Like when you start dating someone you've never met before, you're like, let me learn this thing. Let me ask this thing. Oh, they do this thing. Oh, that's cute. It's not really cute, but you like them. So you and you give a whole lot of great, right? Years down the line, I hate that. It's like, you love that in the beginning. You right. And so I'm trying to kind of give myself that kind of dating energy. Like, what is it that you want? What would what would make you happy today? What would fill your cup up? We do it to everybody else all the time. And so just trying to give myself that. And then most of the time it's like, I actually would need a little bit of this. I need a little bit more grace here. I need a little bit. All right, well, I got you. No, I can do that. What else you need, boo? So being my own little sugar mama for a while.
Yes.
That's what self-love is feeling like today.
Oh, I love that. I love that. There's lots of self things that are happening. So there's self-love, there's self-care, there's self-maintenance, there's self-worth. They're all self. How do they all work together in a way that like is like in harmony, would you say? Like, and I know like part of the beauty is that we have like somatic and like head and psychological together in Unraveled. And so we really are bringing together the mind and the body in that sense. So I feel like with self-worth and self-love, self-maintenance, self-care, how they all come together in that perfect, like harmonious way. And sometimes it might be more or less of something else.
I would first say I'm actually going to lean into my sister friend here, LaToya. One of the things that she taught me, all those self things that we talk about, oftentimes we stay in our head around what that means. And they're all connected actually in our body. We start to disconnect from our self-worth, our self-love, our self-maintenance when we get too much in our head around it, because your body is telling you what you need and what you want in those spaces. And so I'm actually going to defer to her as the somatic guru and in the space. But that is definitely something that she taught me. It isn't about picking one over the other, depending on the moment, or trying to get each of them just right. It's truly about integration. And you only get integration when you're in the body.
Yes.
That's what you taught me, friend.
I mean, it's really that. It's really that. And I think if you're trying to make distinctions, that's something that's fair. And I think it's actually a little bit important. And the reason why I think it's important is we start to deepen how our relationship is shaped around how we tend to ourselves. So I think the root of it is obviously in self-worth, right? And this concept around, have I earned it? Do I deserve it? I think one of the things we need to actually even consider, maybe even spend a little bit of time with, just maybe a smidge, is understanding that like the concept around self-maintenance and self-care, there are different things, right? And so when we think about self-maintenance, it is like the daily habits that we have, or the daily rituals that we take on just to keep our vessel, our being going. So the nourishing meals, right? The showers, the appointments that you take, that's all self-maintenance and something that we need to prioritize. And I think that the self-love, to what was already just said, grace, so that tenderness that we carry with ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, which we get into this season, the inner critic. And so I think all of those things are really important, but when they come together, it's really about how we are tending to ourselves. And I don't think that it's a challenge for us to consider like breaking it down. Like is this maintenance? Is this care? Is this love? How am I tending to myself? How am I listening to what my body needs? And that's absolutely a praxis. And I think that's what we are prioritizing this season, the practice.
No, truly felt that. I think about when you two are together, I'm just like, oh, like it makes sense now. Like it's so clear. I remember I was like really just like in my feelings when I was like going through this. And I was like, and my eyes were like, okay, I'm watching this as an editor. I'm watching this editor. Then I was like watching as a student. I was like, oh, this is really like impactful. And I just like I felt you guys just like warmth through the video, because there was something about like your self-worth being like dictating the decisions you make for yourself and like how you view yourself. And I was like, oh, that rewired my entire way of thinking about how I treat myself and like how I want to show up for myself in that way. And this idea of like checking in with yourself and also checking your inner critic. And you guys do something so like special was like by like naming that inner critic and not having her be your enemy, but just having her be like a protector. I literally wrote protector in all caps and like boxed it up. And I was like, oh, like I'm not fighting myself. I'm trying to protect myself. And like in that way, it's like, oh, I must really love myself then if I'm trying to like do this. And so just like reshaping that type of like the relationship I have with myself. I didn't know that was possible. I kind of just thought that like it's like couples counseling for like you and your inner critic, where you're just trying to like live in peace together. But like, oh, like we're also one. And we also have like the same goal, but just different destinations of how we want to get there in this house. So I really just want to say thank you and appreciate that. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, really.
No. Like I was really like, oh, let me like this like it's part of my checklist on work. I was like, let me just get through this video real quick and make my notes and my timestamps. And I was like, guys, I think I'm doing something wrong. And like I had to like rewind, but it felt really. So I'm hoping whoever's listening, please go watch episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because they get into it. They really do. And this idea of like you said, 80% of what happens to you happens to your body. And just seeing that number is like living so much in your head and living so much in like just trying to figure everything out, and your body's right there saying, hey, I'm also going through this too. How can you protect me? How can you be there for me? Or here's how you show up for me. How are we able to like recognize what our body needs in real time? Because I know a lot of times, like at least for me, I'm so in it that I kind of ignore my body's like signals in a way. But like, how are you able to check in with yourself and your body and like ground yourself back?
Well, you said something like ignoring the body. So start by believing your body before your mind tries to explain it away. That's like the first thing. And we live in a world that there's so much urgency. And so because of the urgency, our capacity to even pause and listen to what our bodies have to say can be compromised. And then because of the way that we're navigating the world right now and all that's happening in our different realities, it's about allowing ourselves to maybe start to notice like, create micro awareness, I suppose it would be the way that I would explain it. And like when you're practicing micro awareness, it's like noticing maybe the tightness in the jaw or like the shallowness of your breath, or before you go for being more reactive when engaging just in your environment, maybe see if you can take a pause and be like present with your breath. And that's okay. I think giving yourself permission, if you will, to pause is really a radical act. And I think that is for me like the ultimate self-care of like giving myself permission to check in with my body and listen to what it has to say to me, especially if I'm kind of navigating challenges or conflict or different stressors, building a relationship with your body, and also not considering your mind as the enemy, because it's not. So we need to also kind of bridge that relationship with the mind and the body.
Absolutely. I would say because there is such a sense of urgency getting to that place of figuring out how to know when to pause. I think we said it in a couple of the episodes. LaToya and I have both said it in separate occasions. Like, you cannot type A your way to healing.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can type A your way into a habit. So if you are not yet in a place where you just know naturally, I need to check into my body, set some alarms. Set 3 or 4 alarms throughout the day that just says pause or stop or beat. You won't think about them again, but when that alarm goes off, it will be the reminder for you in that moment to take that break, to check in with your body, to do the body scan. Like, are my shoulders up really high? Am I breathing normally? Do I feel tense? Like, it gives you that moment to check in until it starts to become second nature. So use the urgency tools to your advantage to slow down until you get to a place where your body gets comfortable and used to and familiar with the slowing down. So we kind of get to use the type A capitalistic tools against themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think also with that, because what do you do when you put that into practice, when you set the alarms and then you check in with yourself, right? So another side, and like to add on to it, instead of maybe trying to even fix the feelings or whatever the results of the check-in is, as you slow it down, maybe just kind of name it, be present with it, take note of it, maybe even, and we don't have to do a whole jam journaling session. Okay. You can just take a note if you need to, but it's also always not necessary to name it or quantify it or identify it. Just being alive to your senses in and of itself is a very natural and ancient way of existing.
Words aren't always needed for what you feel.
Yeah.
That is part of the 80% of the body, 20% of the mind. Mind is going to try to make the words make sense. And sometimes the body, there's no word for this. And that's
right.
Okay.
It's just a feeling. And you're just checking in with it. You and me. For me.
I love this. Let me hop in every FaceTime you guys have, please. I'm just like, yes. When they ask questions, I'm just like, yeah, keep going. But no, it's this idea of like just being present with yourself and not seeking out how to be perfect. Cause like, I think in like with this idea of like journaling or feelings or talking things out, sometimes I get in my head about how I'm coming across, or if I'm not writing the exact things I'm feeling or getting it down to communicating myself in a way that like is feeling that way. But sometimes if I just go outside for a second and stretch and look at the sun or look at the moon, that does wonders for me. That really does something for like it just hits. It's just great. And I love this like freedom of knowing from you guys. It just like there's a way to just like feel without this pressure of having to get it right, and like the fact that you're just feeling. And like for someone who like me, I don't avoid conflict. I address it when it's needed. But this idea of like you guys said, conflict just gives you information. And I was like, that's such a good way of seeing something. And like, it makes it less scary almost. So just like, I'm just collecting information. I'm just allowing myself to make the best decision possible by having like this, like addressing what's happening to me or like what's making me feel unease or stuff like that. So yeah, how does conflict give you information about yourself and about like your relationships that are in your world? Ooh, I love a laugh.
And I love that you said, it's giving me information to make the best decision possible or the worst.
Or the worst.
Or I think sometimes even in the I have to make the best decision possible with the information that I have. It's or you just make a decision and it's the decision that worked for you in that moment. Or it's the actively deciding no, I'm choosing violence. I'm choosing pettiness in this moment. I am aware, though, that I am choosing pettiness in this moment. And so I'm also going to be aware and okay with the consequences that come along with that. And we don't name that as a piece of the awareness and the growth because I was I don't know how this happened. I don't know how I got here. I know.
I know. I always know.
I do it again.
I'm aware that, and you know what? Next time, I that's something I'm aware I need to work on. I told people many a day, there are some things I really need to grow in, but I'm not addressing those things till 2028.
There we go.
I got on my plate right now. Those things are just going to be present in my life till 2028, 2030. Sorry, not sorry, but I'm aware that's a thing I have to work on.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes conflict, it can give you information. It can help you oh, why did that trigger me? Why did that upset me? Is it because it's coming against a boundary? Is it because it's a reflection of something that I'm struggling with? Is it because it's highlighting an insecurity that I have? Is it because I'm projecting a thing? But it's also, oh, is it something that is just giving me an awareness around just something I need to know about myself and not having to do anything with it? Some information is for action. Some information is just for knowledge. There is no perfect way to handle conflict because depending on what you have capacity for that day, if you've eaten or not, if you've had a nap, if someone else has gotten on your nerves, you may get a different version of a very Zen, I am elevated and know how to say and do all the things, but you catch me and I haven't eaten in 8 hours, you may, at the AFO. And that's also good information to know. And so I think just moving away from the I need to make the best decision I can with the information I have. You just make a decision and you give your body grace and learn from what that decision looks like. Understanding and no decisions actively, are in your decisions actively, maybe not trying to cause harm to people. But still, being human and being honest with where you are.
No notes. Conflict exposes my capacity, everything that was just stated. That's what conflict does. It just exposes my capacity in the moment. And what we do with that is what we do with it. No notes. Perfect.
I love that even the smallest things you catch something and I'm wow, that changes how I'm seeing it. Because I feel I'm constantly plagued with making the best decision or making the right decision. And that I get stuck in it. And I'm okay, great. So you reckon, And
which is why I can catch it, which is why
I saw you.
I also know this one over here, or if she's over here, depending on how y'all are recording this, she's saying these things to me when I say that.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to that word you said. I don't. That's how
did she even? How did she know?
I know because in this checked by the people that love me in the same.
Yes.
Because it's so exhausting to always try to do the right thing and always try to figure out what the best decision is to make. It keeps me up at night. I'm just oh, did I do that right? Did I make the right decision in this moment? Did they feel wrong by something I said? If did my intentions come through? I will go back in my mind and just have it on loop of the decisions I made and hoping I made the right one. And sometimes just making decisions all you need to do or just being in the moment. And so, yeah, I'm sitting with that one and I'm figuring out how to,
how does that feel?
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
But where do you feel it?
I feel along my spine. Yeah. I feel tightness in my back about it. And I just feel I just level, I just don't want to disappoint, and I don't want to disappoint myself. I don't want to disappoint other people. But I also feel you can't please everyone and you can't make everyone happy. So if you're in, I have to know that my heart's good and my intentions are good. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to do me and just trying to.
So your feeling is discomfort. You're I feel I need, anytime someone says, I feel you've left the feeling place. like a logical an explanation of the feeling. You said you feel the comfort, you feel it in the spine. Even when you said that, your body started to do this, and then you stopped it. Your body wanted to keep moving because it wants to move some of that out. So even as we're talking through it now, like just see how your body wants to move. Like see what it wants to do. And that's also trusting yourself, giving yourself self-care and self-love. And yeah, because as you were explaining it, you were getting back in your head. I'm like, your body is trying to tell you where it is feeling the thing that it's feeling.
I mean, if you guys are listening, you can see why we have them as our experts for the show, because in real time, I am being like healed and helped, and it's very great. So thank you. I feel it. I feel it.
Feel it.
Like, words are not coming to me because I'm feeling things.
Yeah, and that's acceptable. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, unravel. Oh, all right.
I see you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the exhale, right?
Yeah.
This podcast, I'm having a moment. I love it.
Yeah. That's a pause. That's a beauty. Yes.
Talking to you feels like I just have mirrors all around me, and I can't escape the mirrors. I can't like shine away from them. I can't deflect from them. I just have to face them and then sit with myself in the sense of like what's being reflected back at me. And it's such a, like, it feels very out of body, but also feels like the most I've been in my body at the same time, you know? But yeah, okay. Let me get back on track.
This is the track. This is the track. This is it. This is it.
You said that group chat conversation?
This is it.
Wow.
But even that, right? The like, oh wait, let me get back on track. Like you did something wrong by listening to yourself in the pause. You did it. That was perfect. That was beautiful.
And then like being witnessed, I think that's the other thing. Sitting with yourself is important, but also co-regulation is essential. And especially for Black and Brown folk, it's so important for us to develop a relationship with ourselves, yes, but also in community and safety, right? And that to be witnessed, that can even feel uncomfortable. And that's something to be present with, but know that, you know, this is a part of the journey, and allowing, this is why we do this work, and this is why we're present for each other. So yeah, you're doing it.
No, there's truly such a power in being seen. And it's very tangible, and so I feel it very deeply. Like it's almost like, oh my goodness, but I feel very seen. I feel very good. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Well, my next question is, what's your relationship like with your inner critic right now? So to go on something lighter, but no, how are you guys doing with your inner critic?
Right.
I feel like my relationship with my inner critic right now is pretty chill. Like I'm in this phase, especially where while as I'm saying this, I'm like, when are you not? But anyway, I'm in this space.
You said that so I won't make a face.
Yeah. I'm already catching it. No, but I think I'm giving myself a lot more permission to be so present with all of myself. And I think my relationship with my inner critic is very much so at the fore of, if you feel that way, cool. I hear you. Great. And it's a lot of and that I'm doing with in my building of the relationship with the inner critic. One, because of the conversation that we had during that episode. I'm like, the teenage me. She is protecting. Is that actually my inner critic? Who is that? Where, who, what, when, where? So I'm still examining it so that I can call it in a way that's nurturing and caring and allowing. But for the most part, it's very, all right, everybody, let us all just do what's best for LaToya in this moment. And I think we all need that for ourselves.
I right now my inner critic, it's a we're like a whole minivan. We're like in a real little caravan. And depending, it's like we're in a caravan and we're at a rest stop, and there are times when people are arguing about who's going to drive next.
Right.
Most of them should not be driving. Well-intentioned, but shouldn't be driving. And so then it becomes a matter of like, no, you can't drive, but you can manage the radio. No, you can't drive, but you can count however many X's out the window. Like, all of y'all are important. All of you need to be in the car. I'm not silencing any part of you. Anytime a piece of you comes up, it is your way of trying to protect me. Because we are only as old as our trauma, like as it relates to certain emotions. Like, we may be in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. But if there is, if you had a very deep traumatic experience at like 6, when that emotion of like shame comes up, you are forever 6.
Yep.
With that emotion, and having to understand like 6-year-old shame is not going to react or respond to logic. And so, to LaToya's point, figuring out, okay, which version of you is here right now? Is it like 6-year-old me? Is it 12-year-old me? Is it 13-year-old me? Because those are both very different. Is it, overall teenage me? Is it early 20s me? Like, which one of you is really showing up in this space? What is it you think you're trying to protect me from? Because that's what you believe you're trying to do. So what is it you believe you're trying to protect me from? Thank you. And how can we address this? Or sometimes it's like, you know what? I actually don't have time or capacity to engage you right now. So I'm going to need you to sit right here. I promise I'm going to come back to you. I promise I will, but I need to be in this meeting right now. And I need to be present in this meeting. And I need to not cuss this person out in this meeting because you're showing up. So could be right here. I'm going to be present. I promise I'll come get you later. And so it is a lot of intentional integration, intentional conversations with myself, a lot of grace, and just kind of moments won't be like, who's actually here? Because giving them the honor of not lumping it into just my inner critic, like this one angry entity, really parsing it out to be like, which traumatized, which childhood, which version of me where a need wasn't met, because sometimes it's not always a traumatic thing.
Right.
What version of me where a need wasn't met is showing up? What version of me that feels like a protector is showing up? And, acknowledge that piece, be okay with that piece, and navigate accordingly in that moment, and then checking back in the long run. Again, back to dating is, you get into an argument with someone you love, y'all may pop off in the moment, but you go back to repair.
Right.
I don't think we really know how to repair with ourselves.
No, I wanted to say, you made me think of something. I think when the inner critic is showing up, especially right now, because I was thinking about it generally, but right now, it's definitely showing up when I'm stretching into something new. So I'm exploring a few new endeavors right now, and that inner critic wants to show up, and I'm like, hold up. What you got going on? So today, for sure, it's when I'm like stretching into something new, and I don't want to shrink, but it's like, are you questioning your worth? All those things come through, and it's like, all right, Pookie, mwah, love, but here, sit over there. Definitely. So thank you for even speaking that, because I'm like, actually, I have something very specific that the inner critic and I are navigating right now. Yeah.
Oh, I could relate to that in the sense of, you two were speaking about ego. And for me, right now, I'm just turned 30. So I'm trying to be this 30-year-old, confident, just embodying all that I am and stuff like that, and just taking up space and trying to almost build my ego up in that sense. Because something that felt really freeing, you guys said ego isn't always a bad thing to have. And it's beautiful.
So beautiful.
And I was like, wow, this thing that I was I don't want to come off too cocky. I want to be always really grounded and really humble and modest and stuff like that. So I think sometimes that is out of a self-sabotage to shrink or hide myself in a way. And so hearing that, like, it really, when I tell you guys, watching these episodes really did impact me deeply. It's been like changing me. But hearing that really allows me to like say, like, I want to pour into my ego a little bit. I want to pour into myself to like take up more space and like be more loud and just like here, and just like I made my mark here, and that's okay to say I did that, and I noticed that's when my inner critic comes out. It's like, oh, maybe not you, or maybe someone else should, or maybe you should like step back. So in that space, like you were talking about repairing trauma from the past, but also like in the present moment to not create trauma in myself, or like not like be the person who's rejecting myself. What if like your inner critic is the one who's like like rejecting you, suppressing you? How do you not have that continue to happen in real time? Like, how do you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I understand what you're saying. So even in that phrasing alone, right? Like, my inner critic is rejecting you. My inner critic is like, why are you? So we'll go back to your example. It's like, oh, you need to be a little bit more humble. Why are you being so loud? Why are you being so whatever? There is a piece of it, like you're hearing the voice of whoever imprinted and said that, to you early on. Like you're hearing that in there. And there's a piece of it that's also like your inner critic being like, I don't want you to get hurt.
Right.
I don't want you to be rejected. I don't want you to be sad. And so I'm going to say these things so you don't even try. So you don't have the potential of even being hurt. So you don't have the potential of being harmed. And so some of that shows up along with like some of the negative things that have been said to us and the negative narratives that show up. And most things, not most, but a lot of things that we believe about ourselves don't actually belong to us. It wasn't things it was things that were imprinted on us by other people. And so there are a lot of things that we're saying to ourselves that we need to return to sender.
Yes.
But this piece of like my inner critic is causing me harm. That is such an interesting statement. Because I do think there's an interesting space where on one hand, sometimes our the critic or the negative self-talk. I think there's a difference between like an inner critic and negative self-talk.
Yes.
And so like this self-talk, and oftentimes you'll hear the voices of those that have caused harm or have said the thing to you. That's the voice you're hearing. This inner critic is I think a way to try to protect you from being hurt, being harmed. And so you're like, nope, I'll stay back. Nope, I'll pause here. And in some of it, it's what if I cause harm to myself? Then you learn from that. Like, it's okay. It's a lesson learned, because it's not, I think unintentionally causing harm because you didn't know something and you're learning and growing about yourself is very different than like intentional harm, intentional self-sabotage, intentional self-abandonment. It sounds like some of the things you're naming is like, I want to be able to, again, do this right. And what if I get it wrong? And you get it wrong and you learn something. And that's still okay. Because now you can do something with the thing that you learn.
I think that there's beauty in messiness. I think that there's power in allowing yourself to make mistakes, if we want to call it that. I think there's power in allowing yourself the space to be very curious about what your needs are at every moment. And we can't escape that. That's not something that there is not. And I think there's a couple things that my spirit, the spirits are coming through right now. And that's why I've been really silent, because the heart and the soul wants what it wants, and it wants to show up, and it wants to offer what it came to offer to this world. And I think that as this also has to do culturally with being a Black woman and kind of navigating through caring for yourself and showing up. Even this concept, I think Dr. Maya Angelou was talking about, I'm not modest. Modesty, no. Like humility, sure. But modesty, no. Because who does that actually serve, right? And I think when we are present with ourselves as Black women and comprehend that in this modern world and the concept around caring for yourself and showing up for yourself, being willing to make the mistakes or allowing everything to show up is really important because it's an act of radical love, right? And it's an act of resistance as well because we are the most educated and qualified. And so because of all of that, there's this, we feel like we sometimes need to perform, but we don't, necessarily need to perform. We can show up. And I know that there are so many ways to look at that because we also need to make sure that we're safe. But with yourself, you can show up for yourself time and time and time again. And in that showing up is when you make the mistake, if you do something that is harmful to yourself, being able to hold yourself with care, like really being able to be nurturing to yourself, giving all of that you want to give to the world and to others, to yourself, so that you're overflowing. There needs to be this sense of like overflowing. And I think the reprogramming, which you named and you stated, is something that we, I hope, are offering people when we are in this season of Unraveled. So, you can show up in all of it. And if you find harm, you see it and you start to you see it as a lesson and you can move on and try again and keep trying.
Thank you both. That resonates. And that transitions beautifully into my final question. This whole season of the unfolding and at Loveland this year, we've been focusing as joy being an act of resistance and joy being how we show up for ourselves. And yeah, I've been asking everyone who's been on. I asked Aseanté earlier this year, so I'm curious how your answer will change. But yeah, what is one piece of advice or wisdom or just some learnings that for people who are on their own journey of like self-love and self-care and all the selves, how to embrace joy? Like, what's something you could tell them and how to embrace joy?
For me today, I think I still need a pause on that because I have a lot of things that flooded through.
Okay, fair. 'Cause I love how we're both on this isn't the answer you were expecting. Because this is what I'm gonna say. Again, we're back to like today. What is it? Because I'm pretty sure I don't even remember what my answer was last time we spoke. But I can tell you, like, this moment, on this day, in Dr. Maya Angelou's Earth, I am realizing I understand joy is a mindset, and it itself is like something that can come and go. Like it's a space that you can live in and embody. And I also understand that it's about choosing joy. And the thing that I am sitting with and being okay with is, you know what? There are some days I'm not going to be able to choose joy. And what I can commit to is even if I can't choose joy, I can opt out of catastrophizing.
Oof.
And that may be all I got right now. So I may not be able to choose joy in this moment, but I can't opt out of the catastrophizing, the spiraling, the overthinking in this particular moment. And with the way the world is and what I have capacity for and what's happening in my life right now, that's what I got. I may not be able to lean into this joy piece, but I can't opt out of this thing that's going to cause me that much more harm. And that's all I can offer myself in the moment. And I'm like, that's good enough right now.
And so my relationship with joy, I think I wanted to speak to what my relationship with joy is. I consider it to be a baseline because I sit with it as an emotion. And because I consider it as a baseline, I allow myself to be in a state of joy, and I make a clear distinction between joy and happiness, which I think is circumstantial. And so as joy as a baseline for me means that I can have joy and be present with anger. I can have joy and be present with discomfort. I can have joy and be present with fear. I can have it. And so as a baseline, and it starts to really rest in my heart, which is why my hand is here. It's really from the space of my heart. Joy is an experience. And as an experience, can I allow it in every situation? Can I experience it, even if it's just incremental, right? And so the joy of my breath, the joy of actually having the capacity to sense the discomfort or to sense the anger or whatever it is that I'm experiencing in that moment. And so for me, joy is a baseline and it's experiential and something I don't need to claw at, where I can just be what I am, who I am, you know?
Well, thank you both. I have so much to sit on and reflect on, so I will be doing that after this. But for anyone listening, please, I hope this is proof enough that Unraveled really does work, and it really does shine light on things that you may not know need some light. And it's not every Friday in October, and resources will always be there. We're not going to delete them or anything, so please check it out, share with your friends. And yeah, special thank you to Aseanté, Renee, and LaToya and Maria. You guys being absolute angels on this earth. I am so grateful for you two, truly.
For you.
Please tell everyone how they can support you, find you, be in your community if that's what you want. But yes.
We said if you want to be bothered.
I mean,
I love that, Big-O. We appreciate you for that, for sure. Well, I'm LaToya Maria. You can find me on Instagram under Rooted and Crowned. And, you know, I'm there and then I'm not. I have a website as well where you can find me. I'm on my meditations and courses are on Insight Timer as well. And I pop in and out of the Loveland Foundation. I show up for Aseanté when they did. I'm around these parts, you know.
These healing streets.
Yeah. I'm actually in the streets, out in the fields.
Let's see here. Aseanté Renee, it's my name on all the platforms. I also have a podcast that I just launched called Put Your Bag Down.
Yeah.
The soft retreat for the strong friend. And so, you know, for all the strong friends, the fixers, the go-to, the woman that has to have it all together all the time for all the people, this space is a soft landing for you. It's not about fixing anything. We're not going in talking about all the ways. These are the 9 tips that you have to do. Nah, it's really hey friend, come in, sis, put your bag down. We're not doing the bag lady thing right now. Like, come in, put the bags down, just be present. And so you can find that on Apple, on Spotify, my YouTube channel, which is also my name. And, you know, if something resonates with you, share it with someone who could use it. If it doesn't resonate with you, share it with someone you think it would help. Or share it with someone where you help you win an argument. I don't know. Just share.
Yes.
yeah.
You're speaking my language now.
You know, so get the language book around it. I actually have an episode with LaToya, and we're talking about not your average soft life. Like, we're dispelling a whole bunch of stuff around, like, what does a soft life mean? And so it really is just having really good conversations with people I deeply care about and respect around, like, are you struggling with this? Me too. Let's chat. Maybe we come to a solution at the end. Maybe we don't. Put Your Bag Down podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all the spaces. There's also my website, Axon Group Inc. But podcast is the main space.
Put your bag down.
Love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, everyone. I hope you have a lovely day or a night or a morning. Just, sending good energy. Thank you both again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining us for a very special episode of The Unfolding, presented by the Loveland Foundation. At the Loveland Foundation, we are committed to showing up for communities of color in unique and powerful ways, with a particular focus on Black women and girls. Our resources and initiatives are collaborative, and they prioritize opportunity, access, validation, and healing. Since our founding, the Therapy Fund has provided financial support for therapy to over 13,000 Black women, girls, and non-binary individuals across the country. This year, our goal is to provide free therapy to at least 6,000 more. If you'd like to join us and invest in generational change, visit our website at thelovelandfoundation.org for ways to give. To stay updated on new episodes and any future programming, follow us on Instagram and Meta, or check out our website at thelovelandfoundation.org.